Okay, so we're back with some kind of trendy tattoos today. I think we got quite a bit of different stuff in here. It's a bigger one this time. So
yeah.
This one was actually sent to me, ironically, by the old co-host of Remy Reacts, because he wanted me to see this thing. It's not really that crazy in terms of what we've seen on here, but it's still pretty cool. And I think that, like, the key here is that, for whatever reason, people won't necessarily see this as, like, a white or black on black cover up.
This is a cool one.
You know, but, like, you see these things all the time, and I say this a lot on here whenever we see something like this. It's always like, unless it's a solid black thing, people aren't as impressed by it. Or they don't like,
because there's still some skin break in here. They're like, oh.
But, like, where did that matter? Right? Like, where the fuck do you see anything that was in there?
No, you don't.
Because he didn't use any of that. This is all opaques anyway.
Right.
Like, there's no negative space in here. So, like, the thing is like, when you see these things and they're over black, people will doubt the ability to do it, or they're going to say, like, oh, it's not going to heal well, or, oh, I'd like to see it healed, that kind of shit. But when you have a situation where it's basically the same fucking thing, I mean, realistically, that's all black in there.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like there's any gradients. You can't see, like, there's as much opaque over the black as there is in the negative.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, it's the same fucking thing. I don't know how this is different for people.
It's the same with, like, a typical cover-up, though.
Every single cover-up that's ever been done has work over black.
Right? And then
unless it was a watercolor tattoo.
People just think it's, like, insane, and that it doesn't work when what you're doing. But when they're doing cover-ups, it's the exact same principle.
and you have these old school tattooers that doubt it. It's like, dude, you've covered tribal.
Yeah.
Are you, like, brain dead all of a sudden? Like, have you just lost your mind? All that shit you put over top of black, it just didn't happen? How is it any fucking different?
Yeah, just sometimes it just needs a second pass.
Well, it's also sometimes easier. Like Terry'd rather be covering a black arm than he would be
because it's all
covering
all the same tone that you're dealing with.
Like,
it's like a lot less for your brain to sort through.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like when Alex was tattooing that bat on my leg, it was like, oh, it's not even like a cover up, because it's easier than a cover up.
Yeah, you're just working on a black canvas.
You don't have to worry about, like, oh, if I do this here, it's going to be this color, but if I do it over here, it's going to be this color, right? You just go, oh, okay, all of it's going to be a little darker than normal. Bingo. And actually, it even goes in bright. It heals a little darker, but, like, when you're putting the color in, it doesn't really look that dark.
Yeah.
So it's just like, from a baseline, I think less on the brain by quite a lot. And yeah, this thing is no darker where there is black than it is where there's negative space.
Quite the gorgeous tattoo.
But anyway, yeah, I thought I'd share that one coming from our old co-host Kevin. So then we have this kind of interesting scar cover up here.
This is one of my more favorite scar cover ups that I've seen.
Well, it really takes into account, like I was just saying, about going with the flow of the cover up and like being mindful of, like, where you're putting things. They were very mindful about the placement of this sword.
Yeah, and it was some smart placement too.
Well, it's great because it plays with depth.
Yeah.
So, like, we can't see it necessarily in this photo, but if you were to be, like, close to this thing, the sword is going to appear more in the forefront.
Yeah.
Because, like, the scar is raised, right?
Yeah.
So it's really interesting depth play.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I really, really like that. I think
smart tattooing, and this is a really nice little figure.
Yeah, I mean, ordinarily I would have my usual complaints that this is too small, right? But, like, you wouldn't really want that sword any wider than that, because if you did that, I think it would bring attention to the scar more. Where they've used it in the design at this specific size, it works out uniquely. And like I said, my usual complaint would be that it's too small. What are we going to do now? But realistically, this is just giving them something much nicer looking than that nasty scar on their arm, right?
And
so
it's,
and I think you could build out of this too.
I think so too.
Like, this could just, because if we do the whole arm, this can just be the smallest part, and it gets bigger as we go, right? So there's room to work with this, and what they have is a lot better than that nasty scar.
This is just like a nice little...
It's also really nice fabric folds there.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful tattoo.
Yeah, it's all very small, but it's all very well done.
Nice use of white.
So yeah, this is kind of cool. Very, very small script. Very, very small script. This would be really hard to do.
Yeah, especially like this is what like Times New Roman. It's got all the serifs on it. It wouldn't be. This would be pretty hard.
Yeah. Well, even here we see this is a really good job, but
it's not perfect.
Well, the thing is when you have just lines, there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
It's that joke of like, I've seen the meme. It's like, client comes in, I just want something small. It's a perfect circle, and the Mission Impossible music is playing.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes these ones are like the harder tattoo for sure.
This is harder to do, I would argue, than what was it? On that meme I'm talking about, there's a top comment was, I'd rather do a whole back piece in a sitting than this small circle.
No, it's like
less pressure.
I said this a couple times, like realism, and I don't want to. Realism is easier. It's not easier.
There's just so much room to hide and shit.
Yeah, you can hide some of the shit in there. I had said it once before, and one of the
as long
artists
as you don't fuck up the face, you're pretty much
pointed it out
good.
to me. She's like, "Oh, do you still think realism's easier?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because lines, like, you fuck up a line, you fucked up a line."
Well, the day's over.
Yeah.
Like, the day is over.
In realism, as long as you're not doing everything fucking black as shit, it's not a huge deal.
Even then, a lot of people still, as long as it looks like the thing, they're happy with it. Like, it's like you could have this big, dark, blurry looking like lion or tiger, but as long as it looks like that, it's like all of the problems are excused
like
for most people.
It's definitely nerve-wracking, realism, but like I think lines are more nerve-wracking.
But for most people, it's like if it's a 5 out of 10 tiger or a 10 out of 10 tiger, as long as it looks like a tiger, most people don't really give a shit. That's why you see these really badly done ones, because it's like, oh, but look, it's realistic.
It's a tiger.
Looks
Oh my
like
god!
it. Yeah.
People think my tiger's good.
You just win all these instant points on it.
Yeah.
It's just really funny. I see it every day. But yeah, this is pretty fun.
Nice little tattoo. Yeah. Little drop menu. Oh, this is a cool one.
Yeah, it's a full torso and work here. And
nice texture.
Yeah, really cool. Really good use of the space here. I do think they should put a little detail into this area up here.
In that forehead?
I'm not sure if they're finished yet, but
yeah,
it just looks a little too empty there. I think just a little bit of shading maybe around here, just to give some shadowing.
Yeah.
Like the textures down here and the cheekbones and stuff are really cool.
Yeah.
Cool depth built through the mouth there.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a woodcut. Really cool. This is really neat.
I like the way that it plays with the arms too.
Yeah.
It's like the whole torso is attached to this face.
Yeah, and nice like blacks, and this is really cool.
You rarely see like a full body front that uses the whole front for something like this. It's more often on the back. It is cool to see, and it's nice to see they didn't avoid the nipples in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, good thing they ran over the nipple. You can barely see it.
When you close up, though, you can see it's not as black as the surrounding. It's pretty good.
Shit's hard to do.
But, yeah, you'll see a lot when you really look at nipples. Yeah. And, like, I look at them all the time, at tattoos. Like, they're always a little bit lighter than what's around them. Definitely. It's a real fucking shame.
Not an easy thing to do, so.
But it's still better to try and black them out and have them go away in a composition like this than it is to leave them. Can you imagine if they left the nipples untattooed in this? Like, the whole piece is done. Like, all of a sudden, it's like you don't see the piece, you just see the nipple. It's so important to fucking blast that thing.
Yeah.
It's so important. You can't leave them out. And then this one, I had to fucking show this thing. This is one of those things where it becomes harder and harder to tell what's done on purpose anymore and like what isn't. Like, this looks worse than it could ever be done by someone bad, right? Like, this looks skillfully bad.
This is crazy. I don't even know what to think about this one.
This person does all kinds of tattoos like this. I went to the page that posted this, and there's all kinds of them. They're all like this.
It's like a kid's drawing. I was working on a kid's drawing today.
This is not, though. Like, it looks like it hurt.
Stylistically, though, it has like a childlike drawing quality.
But the saturation is like, it's all bad, but it's like, it's bad in a way that is very like formulaic.
Well, it's meant to look like it's colored with markers.
I don't think so. I think it's meant to look like it was done poorly. Right? Like, I think it's like the intention is for it to look like it was done in jail or with old ink or something. Like, it's done in a way that's it's too organized at the same level. Because like usually when you have an artist making mistakes all over the place, you're gonna have a different look everywhere.
Yeah.
But it all kind of has the same look, right? Like if you look area to area, it's all like saturated very similarly.
Yeah.
The lines are of the same quality. Even though they're in and out of the skin, it's in and out in the same way everywhere.
It's crazy.
Right?
I don't even know how to wrap my head around
it's
this.
like making an art out of being bad at tattooing.
Yeah.
But you can't do that if you actually are bad at it. Like there's too much control of motion here.
Yeah.
Like that sounds crazy because of what you're looking at. But like look at that design. Everything is intentional looking. Right? Like you would have, if this was actually a bad tattooer, you would have parts of it that were worse and parts of it that were better.
Yeah, and parts of it that are blown out.
That's
and I don't see any blowouts.
It's really hard. We're in a weird fucking time right now with tattooing where like people are trying to achieve all kinds of different things, and it's very like, I don't know. I wouldn't want this on my back. I like that this is a thing. I like that people are doing different shit, but like, to me, it's like...
Not your aesthetic.
It's not even just that. It's also like, once the joke is over, it's not funny.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't like to have this, right? I would be wanting to fix this, but this was done the way they intended it to be done. I'm thinking, and I'm pretty sure, because like if you look at this person's page, they have so many of these.
Yeah.
So people are, and look at the likes.
Oh, I know.
Right? Like this is popular. So like people are coming for this.
I see. Nolan liked it. I mean...
Yes, it's purposely done this way, but it's like it's just crazy looking, and it looks like it was painful as fuck too. But it probably wasn't, right? Like I don't know.
Hard to say.
It's really weird. Look at that fucking thing.
Well, it's bleeding a bit too, right? And like
they cook it the picture at just the right time.
Right,
they're trying to tell the story, but man, I just like it's such a weird time. Like I think art has gone to a place where people are having such a hard time.
Art does this though. Tattooing's just entering that like weird era of its life where
postmodern kind of art where it's but
like people are like, okay, here's the formula, now let's fuck with it.
I get that I've done my own version of that. I have, but like mine is more I guess traditional.
Yeah.
Like it's more like on the rails.
The imagery is still traditional.
Yeah, well, and also like the way that it's achieved is still of the same like tradition, right?
Yeah,
like it's you saturate, you focus on quality, you try to anyway, right?
But whereas this is like really raw.
You're turning it sideways when you do something like this. You're like kind of throwing the playbook out the window,
right?
and like especially because like a bystander will look at this and they won't know the difference. Yeah. Right? They won't see the things that I see that lead me to believe that actually a very competent tattooer did this and they did it on purpose. The joke is that they want you to think that it's bad. Yeah. But it's not. Right? Like it's actually quite masterful in a way.
It's crazy.
That's insane given what's on the screen right now that I'm saying this.
I know, it's crazy.
But we are at a time where we have Rixar tattoo for years. Like that's past, Yeah. Like we need to go farther than that somehow.
Right.
We need to do crazier shit to keep moving the needle, and that's where you get these things. And then we have something that's a little less complicated.
I've seen this like a million times. Cat's ass.
Yeah.
Belly button.
Yep. It's the only thing that I would change about this cat, and I love this fucking tattoo, by the way. I really do. I think it's, again, cool depth play.
Yeah.
It's just that the cat would have a little more fur in there than that. Also, I feel like the tail's in the wrong position. Should the tail not be like a little more in the center there?
Yeah, maybe coming up a little more.
It looks like the tail should be starting in the center a little more. Like, I'm not trying to pick this thing apart. I do like this tattoo. Like, I had to include it somewhere on Remy Reacts, but...
just seems like such a cat thing to do. They, like, scowl at you and say, look at my bum.
Well, cats are petty.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're petty and, like, weirdly spiteful creatures. Like, they can be loving, but they always think they're better than you, right?
Right.
There's a baseline. They think that they're the boss. But, like, I like these gradients around the butt, right? See how it gets really soft in here? But like, I think it needs to be hairier as you get closer to that butthole.
Come a little closer to the bumhole.
Yeah, like, and also the underneath of the legs. It looks more like a chicken's legs than a cat. They need a little more fur texture in there.
Yeah.
This thing's got like a balding asshole. It's losing all its fur
It's a
around
hairless cat.
Like, I really, really love the play with the belly button, though. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.